All right, so section 1.3 is all about properties of these numbers, real numbers. And so please make sure you're filling out all of this, because remember, you can use these on your test and quiz, and I highly doubt you're going to memorize them, so might as well write it down and use your resources. Okay, so commutative property. So this means that you can add in any order. So here's the example we're going to write down. So for addition, A plus B is equal to B plus A. So all that means is in addition, you can flip-flop it. Same thing goes in multiplication. You can multiply in any order. So A times B is equal to B times A. All right. So the associative property is a little bit different. So this is going to have three terms in it. So A plus B plus C, let's just write it down right like this first, and then I'll add the parentheses because there is parentheses in this. So this property, after you have A plus B plus C equals A plus B plus C. So this is, if you throw parentheses and say A plus B plus C and that would mean you would do the B plus C part first. That is the same as if you move the parentheses over here, but around the A and B. Because again, the order doesn't matter. As long as everything is addition, it will give you the same answer either way. It's very similar in the multiplication property. So this will just start the same way, A times B times C. So get that written out. And then that property, if you put parentheses around the B and C, so multiply those first, it's the same thing as if you were to multiply the A times B first. Okay, and then the last one is the identity properties. Okay, so the identity property for addition is A plus 0 is equal to A. So that means whatever number it is, if you add 0 to it, it's that number, right? It doesn't change at all. And you're probably like, Mrs. Roeder, that's common sense. I know this, but they had to give it a fancy name, and we're going to have to be able to identify the properties later. So just write it down. I understand. It's common sense. Okay, now what do you think it would look like for multiplication? So A times what is just going to give you A? Well, there's only one number, and that is 1. So A times 1 is A, because any number times 1 is just that number. Nothing changes. Okay, now here we go. We are identifying the property of the following statements. So the first one, I see parentheses. So I know it's got to be the associative property. And you can't just write associative property because there's two of them. So you can abbreviate property by prop. I'm okay with that. So this would be the associative property of, and you must have this in order to get the point. What are they doing? Well, they're multiplying. So the associative property of multiplication. Cool? Let's do the next one. So 3 plus 0 equals 3. Okay, which one does that look like? Look at your table. Looks like the identity property, and you can't just say identity property, you have to say the identity property of addition. Okay, now 5 plus 7 is equal to 7 plus 5. Looking up at your table, looks like the commutative property of addition. Okay, letter D, more parentheses, so I know it's got to be the associative property. And what are they doing? Are they adding or are they multiplying? Looks like they're adding, so associative property of addition. Okay, this one, oh, it's on the next page. So 9 times 1 equals 9. So that looks like, to me, that would be the identity property And then what are they doing? Well, they're multiplying. So identity property of multiplication. All right, and the last one, 3 times 8 is equal to 8 times 3. That would be the commutative property. Let's see if I can spell commutative without looking. And it's the commutative property of multiplication. All right, so now that was too easy, right? You can just look up at the table. Now I'm going to have you complete the actual statement given that property. So identity property of addition, and if you want to flip back and look over, so identity property of addition, we're looking at this one. So it looks like they give you the number out here, the A. So what plus 0 equals 17? Well, that's 17 plus 0. Okay, and now the associative property of multiplication. That would be the one where the parentheses moves. So it'd be 3 times 6 times 8, and they put the parentheses around the second 2. So now we need to put it around the first 2, and it would work. Okay, I'm going to challenge you, pause the video and try to do the last 4 by yourself. And feel free to flip back to your table, see if we can get the same answer. So the commutative property of addition, 9 plus 8, would be this equal to 8 plus 9. The identity property of multiplication would be 11 times 1 is equal to 11. Associative property of addition is 4 plus 5 plus 9. It looks like their parentheses are around the first 2, so we need to put them around the second 2. Or the last 2, excuse me. And then the last one is commutative property of multiplication. So what equals 3 times 7? Well, that's 7 times 3. Okay? All right, that was it for properties. Thanks for watching.